Okay. So what we are doing is we are learning copy constructor. So for that we are writing a program. Okay. In that program we first created this file called copy shape test.java. Okay. And what we are writing in this code is first we are creating a class with the name shape. Okay. The class name is shape. It is having two variables. First, for storing the type of shape, for example, circle, rectangle, or anything. And then second, there is an integer variable which will store how many sides this shape is having. All right. Now to initialize all these variables, we have two choices. Either we write set data method or we can use the constructor. So what we are selecting is, since we are learning constructor, we will use a parameterized constructor to initialize this object. So as we know, the name of constructor is same as class name, and constructors don't have any return type. And this is a parameterized constructor. It is having two input here. Two parameters are passed here. The first parameter is what type of shape, and second parameter is how many sides this shape is having. Okay. And what we do here is we will assign this parameter value to the instance variable of the object. How to do that? We will use this operator to distinguish between the parameter and our local variable. Okay. So if I'm writing like this, then this type which we are assigning to variable is the parameter, and the variable where I'm assigning is the instance variable. So you can check the color and understand which color belongs to which variable. Okay. So similarly, I will write for side. So since the names are same, we will use this keyword to distinguish between the local variables. Okay. So till this point, everything is clear. What we did, so we created a class, and to initialize these variables of the class or instance variables of this class, we are using a parameterized constructor. Okay. So till this point, things are clear. Correct. Any conclusion here? Yes. No. Just respond something. Yeah. So Pranav said it is clear. Fine. So we'll move ahead now. So I can initialize this constructor. What next we are going to do is, since okay, so first we complete this thing. We write a display method. So I will write a display method, void display method. What this display method will do, it will not accept any parameter. It will simply print one statement for us. So here I am printing. Yeah. So here we will print something meaningful. So here I will print the variable type. I mean, if suppose circle, rectangle, or any. So type uh, mm, 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 as then here we'll write the variable size value, and then print size. So if suppose type value is rectangle and sides are 4, then the output will be rectangle has 4 sides. Okay, is this grammatical correct? I don't know. Has or have, it doesn't matter. Basically, we will print something which will be meaningful for us. Okay. No, so we will write have there. Has or have. Okay, has is fine. No, fine. Okay. So we'll fix this thing. Has this rectangle has 4 sides. So this output is going to get displayed. Fine. So to use this thing, we will write one more class. Okay. This name should be same as my file name because this is my main class. File name is copy save s. Okay. Since this is my main class, I will write main method here. So inside this class, I have written my main method, and inside my main method, first thing we'll do is we create object of the class shape. So how to do that? I will create shape s1 equal to new shape. Okay. So here I will pass square. Okay. So since it is string square, and here I will write 4. Okay. So this is clear what I did. I created a shape s1 with the type square and sides equal to 4. Okay. What we do is we will display the value dot display. Okay. So let's test this file till now, and then we add other modifications. Okay. So what this program is, it is a simple program. So in the main function, I'm creating object of class shape, and then we are calling a display method. Fine. So first we compile this code. Save कर लेते हैं. So first we'll save the file. Once it is saved, we'll compile. So compiled successfully. We'll run this file. Okay. So square has 4 sides. So this is fine for us. It is working good. Now last time we had this problem that if I want to create this thing, some other shape, let's call it S2. Okay. And if I assign value of S1 here, okay, and if I write S2 dot display, okay. So what we wanted is we wanted to create copy of object. So if we run our program, we'll see that it's like copy is created for us. But the problem is if I modify something in S2, the value of S1 will also change. Okay, so if I modify value S2 dot type equal to, let's call it as rectangle. Okay, let's write rect only. Then what will happen if I change value of S2, and this will modify the value of S1 also. Okay, you can test it by compiling and running. Okay, so I changed in S2, but what happened is S1 is also getting modified. Okay, so till this point, everything is clear, correct? So last time we did till this thing. Okay, so we wanted to create copy of what we are doing is we are just creating a reference variable which is pointing to the same object. Okay, till this point, everything is clear. We can move ahead with the copy constructor. Okay, so what we want is we want to create copy of object in such a way that if I modify any object, the other will not change. Okay. So one obvious way is what I can do is I can simply copy this line and I write that I created this S3 object. Okay. This is one way of doing, but it is not relevant to say that we are creating copy of any object. It's like we are creating a new object with same data. Okay. So if I display S3, okay, and if I change anything S3, then what will happen? S1 will not change. So if I change anything in S3, what will happen? The value of S1 will not change. Okay, so this is obvious. So just test it in case. Okay, so here only S3 is getting modified. No changes happening in S1 or S2. Okay, but what we want is we want to copy the value of object S1 into some new object. Okay, let's call S4. So for that we will create a constructor. Okay, so here in the class shape we will create a new constructor. Okay, and parameter this object will have, this will have uh, okay, object of class shape. So here we are passing some string value, integer value. What is input to this new constructor? Input is object of class shape. Okay, so this is important to understand. This thing is clear. What we are passing? We are passing the object of class S to the constructor. What we do now is we assign the value of type which is there in the object S. Okay, and what is other thing? Type. Okay, is this thing clear? What I did? I created a new constructor with the name shape. What this constructor is taking input, or in the parameter we are passing object of class shape, and whatever object I will pass, that object type is assigned to my local variable, and the object which I'm passing in the parameter, its type is assigned to the type and size are assigned to the local variable. Okay, anybody confused here? What is happening? What we are doing? So this is simply creation of a constructor where in the argument we are passing object of in the parameter list. Okay. Any question here? So this we created a copy constructor. Okay. We'll see. Next we see how to use it. So is there any question here? Anybody confused? What we just said? Or this thing is fine or clear for you? Yeah. Okay. So next, what we do is we will create a new object, okay, of class shape. Okay, let's call this object as S4. Okay, I will call new. I will call constructor, but this time we will use copy constructor. So here we have 1, 2, 3 options. I can copy any above available object. So let's create copy of S2. Okay, or S1, S3, any object copy I can create. Okay, and this is not they are linked with each other. This is a separate copy created with the name S4. This is having same value. So if you see the above instruction for creating object S3 and this last instruction, they both are same. Okay, in a sense, what is difference here is here we are copying parameter and here we are directly copying object value. Okay, so indirectly we are doing it. Okay, and we can display S4 values also. Okay. And just for your understanding, this S4 ka copy, we are copying S2. So we will try to modify the value of S2. Okay. Can anyone guess what output will come? So I'm printing S1, S2, S3, S4. Last one is S4. Okay. So just tell me the square rectangle in which order the output will come. I mean, I just want the sequence. For example, if the output is like square, 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 4 times square will come, or what exactly the output, how exactly the output will look like. Square, rectangle, square, rectangle, square, rectangle, square, rectangle. So S1 is square, S2 is rectangle, S3 is square, and S4 is rectangle, correct? Rectangle, rectangle, square, rectangle. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, let's see it and check. I just want one more. Okay, well, I got one more. This one. Rectangle, rectangle, square, rectangle. Okay, let's see who is correct. Sorry. So it is rectangle, rectangle, square, square. Yeah, Jamin is correct. So I don't know why you all are confused here. So just try to understand what is happening here. Of course. So first we created object S1. Okay, value for S1 is square has four sides. Okay, then we created object S2. S2 is having same input square and 4. Okay, then we created S3. S3 is also having square and 4. S4 is also having the same value square and 4. Later what we did is we modified the value of S2. Okay, what will happen if I modify value of S2? S2 as well as S1 both will change, but S3 and S4 they are not going to get modified because of this operation. Okay, is this thing clear? What we are doing? Okay, if you are still confused, we'll try to understand with the help of this slide. Yeah. So what we are doing here is, if I call this method shape S1 equal to new shape, okay, it may be default constructor or parameterized constructor, or I can call shape S2 where I can pass the parameterized one. Next, what we can do is we can create a new object with same parameter. Okay. What next we can do is we can create a copy of S3. Okay, and lastly what we can do is we can simply copy the reference, the address. Okay, so this 4 5 options we have in the list. Okay, what happens is if I create shape S1, okay, so a reference variable, whenever I'm calling reference variable, just think of a pointer. Okay, so S1 is a reference variable. Okay, now why we are not telling it pointer? Because we are not going to use it as a pointer. So this variable we will use indirectly only. Okay, so directly we cannot use addresses to access anything. So we can access this S1, the reference variable, with the name S1 only. We cannot use its address directly. Okay, so what is happening is S1 is pointing to an object. Okay, so which is having no shape and zero value, because we had not, I mean, it will take the initial value. So null value for shape and zero for integer. Okay. Now what happen if I create the object S2? In this case, uh, a new object is getting created with the name, with the type square and size 4. Okay. Uh, Similarly, what will happen if I create S3? The new object is creating. Okay, so new object is getting created with the name square and the value 4. Okay, and if I'm doing the second last operation by calling copy constructor, then also same thing is happening. A new reference variable is created and new object is created with the same value. So if I change either S1 or S2 or S3 or S4, only a specific variable is getting modified. All right. But what is happening in the last case, if I'm creating this S5 and assigning value to S2, then the new reference variable is created, but it is pointing to same memory location. Okay. So if I modify either S2 or S5, what will happen? They both will change, but it won't affect S1, S3, and S4 variable. Okay. Is this thing clear? or still confused? Just all those people who are getting wrong values, now can you check the program and see, I mean, with this explanation, just think of where the reference variable is copied. I mean, it means like the address, the value which is stored in variable s2 and the address which is stored in variable s5, they are equal. Okay. So if I compare s2 with s5, it will say they both are equal. Okay. It won't check the value. It will only check the address. So they are basically storing same memory location. But s1, s3, s4, they are uh, storing some different memory location. Okay. And always think whenever you are calling new, okay, so new keyword will allocate new memory space. So only the last case we are not calling new operator. Okay. So whenever I will call new, it will create new memory space for me, and in that new memory space, all those variables are assigned. If I don't call new, then what will happen? It is not a new memory area for me, so it will use some available thing. Okay. So with this explanation, we are done with copy constructor, but we'll still try to modify our program because it is very difficult to test us how to compare this variable. Okay. So now just check the program and try to understand how the output is getting changed. So we are changing only S2, okay? But S2 is copying value of S1. Then what will happen if I modify S2? There is the S3 and S4 will not change, but S1 will change. So that's how we are getting output as rectangle, rectangle, and then square and square. All right. So now what next I'm going to do is instead of writing display, I want to create a method which will compare the values of object. Okay. So it will compare values of object. If both the values are equal, within the object, if all the variables or whatever variable I'm targeting, if they are equal, the output is true or it is false. Okay. So in the class shape here, I will create a okay whose output is either true or false. Okay. I want to create a method whose output is either true or false. So can anyone tell me what will be the return type of this method? Let's call this method as equal. Okay. So what Boolean? Correct. Yes, so Pranav said it is Boolean because we are looking for a method which will give me only two output, either true or false. So we'll go with Boolean. Okay. So its output is either true or false, not 0 and 1. Okay. What this variable will take input is it will take some other object. Okay. Okay. So in the parameter, I'm passing an object. Okay, just like constructor में हमने pass किया था, similarly we are passing an object into this method. Okay, so we are passing object as a parameter in the method equals. And what this method will basically do is, okay, it will check both the variables. So it will check if type of object is equal to s dot type. Okay, and so here I can use either short circuit or the regular AND operator. So I can use double ampersand or single ampersand. It will matter for us. I mean, it will change the way program is executing, but for us it is fine. We are not assigning, we are equating. And we also check for the sides. The sides equals s dot side. Okay. So if both the conditions are true, then I will return true. Okay. Else, okay, so brackets, if you want, you write for one statement, I can remove the brackets also. So this rule will be applicable. जैसे C में होता था. So if there is only one statement inside if and else, you can avoid writing brackets. Okay? So whatever way you are comfortable, if you want to remove brackets for if and else, you can remove it. Or if you want to keep it, you can. So here I'll return false. Okay. So is this code clear? So we are creating a method. What is different here is instead of in the parameter list, we are passing an object of some of the same class, and it is checking if the type and size of both the objects are equal. The output is true, else the output is false. All right. So this code is clear. Any confusion here? Any question? So till now, whatever method you have written in that method, you just pass some parameters. But here we are not. We pass parameters in terms of primitive. Primitive data type. But here we are passing objects. So that's the difference. Okay. So this difference is clear. So you can pass parameter. You can pass object as parameter to the method. Okay. So if this thing is fine, we can move ahead. I'll move ahead if there is no question here. Then in the main method, we'll call this method and test. Any question to anyone? No questions. No questions. Okay. Good. So now what next we do is instead of writing display and reading the instructions and then finding out they both are equal or not, what we do is we call this equals method. Okay. This is with the return value, no? Okay, so it will return true or false. Okay, so here we can simply display. Okay. So here instead of storing value and then printing, I can display the statement directly. So S system, all right. So print. Mm, okay, we'll simply check if I want to compare S1 is equal to S2 or not. Okay, so here I want to check whether S1 and S2 are equals or not. Okay, and keep some space over here. Here I want output of my method. So here I'll call equals method. How to call equals method? I will check S1. Okay, I'll call equals method. Okay, and in the parameter I will pass S2. Okay, is this line clear? So I'm calling equals method from S1 object, and I'm passing object S2 here. Okay, so it will compare S1's type with S2 type and S1's side with S2 side. If both the values are equal, then the output is true. Okay, is this clear? So similarly, we will create and check for other variables. So I'll compare everyone with S1. Okay, so how many others? Four. So I'll compare S1 with S2, S1 with S3, S1 with S4, एक और है. Okay, so here also we have to change 3, 4. We can do one more comparison. We can compare S3 with S4 or S2 with S4 हम लोग कर लेते हैं. We are comparing S2 with S4. Or if you want me to compare anything, then just give me. I'll change the value. Here this variable S4. Okay. Is this code clear? How we are calling method? So this is the regular call. I want to call equals method, but only in the parameter list I have to pass some object. Okay. So this output will be either true or false because this will return me an true or boolean value. Equals will return me boolean value for us. Okay, so let's save, compile. Okay, run. So it is telling S1 is equal to S2 true, S1 equal to S3 false, S1 S4 false, S2 S4 false. So the output is clear. So it is true, false, false, false. You can check the code and compare. So first comparison is true, but rest other comparisons are false. Okay. Any question, any confusion? Oh, this is so obvious. Or anything you want me to experiment here by changing something, then just tell me. Okay, things are clear. How to use copy constructors, how to pass object to method, how to call the method where there is an object in the parameter list. So Pranav said it is clear. What about others? Is the code clear to all? Yeah. What about others? Out of 54, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people understood. Mm, okay. Maybe it's good ratio for you. So what about others? They don't understood or they just don't want to reply? Come on, make it interactive. Okay, somebody left also. I'll take one more attendance. Just inform. Okay. They shy away from replying. I mean, they have to type, no? Full day they used to type. Okay. I'm not telling to show their face and pose or do some kind of acting. Shlok knows everything. Okay. So this program, I don't know. The output is RRS. Come on, that's what. Ask. If you don't ask, I'll think that you understood. Okay. Mm, okay, I'll check, here, no? So then here is why the output is rectangle, rectangle, square, square. Okay. So we are creating this first object h1. Okay. So what is two values here? So the type is square and side value is 4. Okay. So initially s1 ka value is 4. Then we created s2. The value for s2 is also same because it is pointing to s1 only. Okay. Then we created s3. Right now here at this line, all four are having same values. Square and 4, square and 4, square and 4, square and 4. Okay. Only difference is s1, s3, s4, they are pointing to different location, but s2 and s1, they are pointing to same memory location. Okay. Now next what I did is I modified value of s2. Okay. So modification, what will happen? The value of s1 will uh, change to rectangle and value of s1 also change to rectangle. Correct? Because if I modify s2, what will happen is they are pointing to same memory location. This both value will change. S1 will also change. S2 will also change. So the value of S1 is now rectangle. Value of S2 is now rectangle, and S3, S4 they are not getting affected because of this operation. So this value will still be square only. Okay, Lester, is this thing clear or you want me to explain more? Okay. Yes, so this change is happening because of this operation. Instead of S2, if I modify S3, then can anyone tell me what output will come? let's try output for this thing, true and false. Last true and false में what sequence will come instead of S2 if I modify value of S3. S3, okay. Okay, I want to modify value S3. So our true false का sequence में how the output will come, true 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 or true false, in which sequence the output will come. True false true true. Okay, because only change is happening inside variable S3. Rest other variables are with same values. Okay, so the second comparison will give us false. Rest other things are true. Okay. There are two things to understand. One, how to create a copy constructor. Okay, how to create object in object so that there are two copies created. I mean, it is not like that. There is only one variable pointing to same area. Okay, so by either calling copy constructor or by creating new object, you can do that. Okay. What else is how many of you know about this thing, call by reference? What I mean, just if you know, then tell me yes. If you know what is the meaning of call by reference. Okay. So in call by reference, what happens is we pass address of variable. Okay. And with the help of address, we what we do is we try to modify the variable, a value of actual variable. Okay. So why we call it call by reference? Because we are passing reference of those specific variables, address of variable. Okay. In some sense, we are doing same thing here also. Okay. So here what we are doing inside method equals, we are not directly passing these variables type and size. Instead, what we are passing reference of these two variables. Okay. So this is also called, I mean, you can think of this is also called as call by reference. Okay. So whenever I'm object, because here we don't access directly. Okay. Here, if I'm in Java, if someone is asking how call by reference is happening, so whenever we are passing object to the method, or here also, here in the constructor, so what basically we are doing is we are calling a method, but we are not actually passing actual values of variables. Instead, we are using some kind of reference, and with the help of this reference, I will get the actual value. Okay, so this is also your call by reference. The call by value examples you saw. I mean, before that, whatever program, whatever code we have written, so there we passed direct primitive variable. Okay, and this is call by value. Another thing is call by reference. Okay, calling a value by its address. So here, whenever I'm telling object is nothing but a reference variable. Okay, and reference variable is nothing but a pointer or address. Okay, good. Just understand. So just repeat. I will repeat everything about constructor. So in case something is missing, you are not still understanding, you can uh, ask me. So what is a constructor? A constructor is used to initialize an object. So I can initialize objects with the help of constructor. Okay. Before constructor, what we use is we use set data method to initialize value for the constructor. Okay. Uh, while creating an object, so when it happens, when constructor is called, it is called when we are creating an object. So when the memory space is allocated, at that time only you have to call a constructor. Without constructor, you cannot create a. Okay, so next thing is constructors are automatically called, so you don't have to do any explicit call for it while creating object. The object, the constructor is getting called. Okay, the properties about the property is constructors are having same name as the class name. They are a method, but they are special kind of method. Why they are special? Because first thing is they don't have any return type. Okay, so whenever we are telling no return type, it means no void also. Okay, so it's not like that you have to write void here. So there is no return type. You don't have to write any return type. Okay, why it is happening? Because this thing is hard coded. Okay, so implicitly what is happening is always a constructor returns a class type. Okay, what is the class type? It is the same thing which we pass inside those method equals and copy constructor. So what we pass is we pass a object of type class. Okay, so similarly the return type for constructor is same. A class type is returned. Okay, so later in this course we'll see some methods where class type is returned. Okay, this is your default constructor where there this parameter list is empty. Okay, you can write inside code whatever you want, or you can keep this bracket empty. There is this parameterized constructor. In the parameterized constructor, you have to pass parameters, and lastly we have copy constructor. Okay, and for copy constructor is taking in the input, it is taking object of class student. Okay. What is advantage of constructor? The advantage of constructor is we are getting some object which is ready to use. Okay, so हमने just create किया and now next step we can use this object. Okay, so this you saw how the changes are happening. Okay, still we have 9 minutes. We can finish one theoretical topic. Okay, short topic, so that next time we start with something new. All right. So this is called garbage collection. Okay, so just listen. What do you mean by garbage? What do you mean by garbage value in terms of programmers? So in the language of programmers, what do you mean by garbage or garbage value? Number, some random value stored, unwanted value in the memory location, not required output. Okay. So in general term, what is the garbage? In general sense, कौन से object को use it is a garbage object? Waste, and in why waste? Because you cannot use it, correct? So the object or things which you cannot use are called garbage, correct? I have very bad weather over here, so I have to disconnect from the lecture. Yeah, sure. Anyways, the lecture is over. We are just finishing out. I'll share the video. Don't worry. Okay. So garbage is something which is of no use. We cannot use that thing. So those we classified into garbage value. Okay, so that is the general idea. तो जो भी चीज है जिसको हम यूज नहीं कर सकते वो हमारे लिए वेस्ट है, दैट इज अ गार्बेज वैल्यू और अ गार्बेज. Okay, so let's understand in terms of programming what things are there which we cannot use. Okay, so whenever we create objects, okay, so this new operator is helping us for dynamically create some memory location, and with the help of reference variable we can access those data. Okay, so in the previous diagram हमने वही किया था. So a reference variable is created and it is getting pointed by actual data. So new is creating that actual data space which is in yellow color and all the values are assigned there. Okay, now what happens if I want to destroy the object? Okay, so what will happen? The reference variable is getting destroyed. Okay, so in C++, so those who had learned C++, we do this deletion of object manually. Okay, but this thing happens automatically in Java. All right. So, are you understanding what do you mean by deletion? New is creating something. If I don't want that data in my program, so we have to delete it. Okay, so we have to destroy it. So constructor opposite destruction. All right. So here we are destroying some object, and this process happens automatically in Java, the destruction. Okay, and the process is named as garbage collection. So what do you mean by garbage collection? Garbage collection is a process where the unused objects are getting destroyed automatically by your system. Okay, now what happens if garbage collection, if I mean sorry, so if there is no reference to an object exists, so when garbage collection actually destroys some object, so this is the condition. If there is no reference to an object exists, it means there is this yellow color object thing is there, but there is nobody which is pointing to that memory location. All right. So if this is the case, where for the data which is there in the memory, there is no one to refer. Okay, so there is no reference variable for it. So those type of data I cannot use. All right. So these objects for which there is no reference variable, I cannot use those data or object value. Okay. So what these objects are doing, since I cannot use it, it is garbage for me. Okay. So there is something waste for me which I cannot in my program. And what this data is doing, they are unnecessarily occupying memory into my system. All right. So what happens in garbage collection process, in some regular time interval, this garbage collection runs, it checks for location, it checks the objects for which there is no reference. Okay, and it will destroy those, or it will basically clear those memory. Now the case is, this thing is clear. This is the process of garbage. This is irregular intervals. The process runs for the unused object. Unused object means no reference for those objects, and garbage collection process will basically destroy that memory location, so that this memory location can be reclaimed by. Okay. Now the question here is, this is fine. We can destroy the object. Now the last, I want search before this. Okay. Here is the question. What I want to do is, whenever happening, whenever there is this garbage collection process running, and my what I want is, I want certain action before that. Once those actions are, my object should, this thing we is happening. Previously, we understood how garbage collection process is running. Now, next important thing is, my condition is, I don't want my object to get destroyed like that. In my program, these objects are important, and what I want to do is, whenever this destruction happening, I want to perform certain operations, certain instructions I want to run. All right. Now, how to do it? This mechanism is called finalization mechanism. I can use finalize method. Okay. In my program, in my class, if I write finalize method, so when this finalize run, whenever the garbage, okay, so if garbage collection process is running and it is destroying the object of that specific class, before destruction, finalize method will run. Okay, without calling, so it is like hard coded. Okay, so method is always called before garbage collection. So if you write, the thing will run. If you don't write, it is like you just don't worry if it is getting destroyed. You are not concerned with that. Is this thing what is garbage and what is finalized method is doing? Very important, this Viva or interview questions. If you are understanding, then tell me yes. What is garbage process? How it is in Java? What do we do? How to plan I mean, how to run some instructions on this selection process, finalize method. If you have any program for it, you can try and test because this garbage collection process runs in background. Okay, so this is clear. I can move ahead. Any question here about garbage collection process or finalize method? Come on, 1 minute left. Before that, I have to finish. One more slide is left. Speak quickly, yes, no. Okay, clear. I thought along with Anushri, all other left. Okay, fine. So let's understand. The Java runtime calls that method. That method means what? Here we are talking about finalize. So when the finalize method is called, okay, whenever Java runtime is actually running garbage collection process, okay, and whenever it is recycling some memory location, before that finalize method is getting called. We always protected, finalize, protected, void, finalize, and whatever before the object is getting destroyed. Okay, it's like something, some kind of log I want to maintain. All right, so you can write any just now. So the question here is why we can write all the actions which I want to perform and closing bracket. So this is the syntax for writing finalize. I can write finalize any of the object. Yeah, last, sorry. Okay. Collection process runs periodically. Process will run. So it will for the object with any reference. So it is like should not be referred by any running state, indirectly by any other state. So it means तुम्हारा जो memory location होगा वो या तो directly access नहीं हो रहा है or it is not also getting indirectly accessed by some other object. Okay, via something. So it means it is totally waste. वो कोई भी उस चीज को access नहीं कर रहा है. Okay. Now before freeing or recycling that memory location, the finalize method is called. Okay. Yeah, and one thing is finalize method will not called if your this thing is out of scope. Okay, so if you're out of scope and then garbage collection process is running, then finalize will not run. Okay, so all the points are clear about finalize method and the garbage collection. Okay, so next we see static. Next lecture में what static means, and we see program. If you want to check how finalize thing works, you can write a program with finalize method. You can write any instruction.
Is there any question about garbage collection process or finalized method? If there is no question, we can wind up the lecture. No? Okay, everything is clear. Fine. Okay. One important thing in the classroom, I will share one GitHub repository. What I'm doing is whatever program we are doing, I will upload it online. Okay, and you can refer all those programs in case you want to practice. All right. So we are done with the lecture. We'll, I guess, tomorrow or some next lecture, we will start with static keyword. We'll see one program based on static keyword, how static keyword or how static variables are used and created. Okay. So in the next lecture, we will learn how static variables and static method help us in programming. Okay. So, chalo fir. Bye bye. Enjoy your day. One more lecture to attend. Okay. See you in the next lecture. Bye. Yes, I'll stop the recording.